What's up, Fiend Fam? The new year is almost upon us, and that's got me thinking. Once the ice has melted and the salt has washed off the roads, Mrs. Fiend is going to be taking the MSF Basic Rider course. That has me contemplating different bikes that I'd recommend to both new and experienced riders. I'm going to turn this into a series, but for this video, I'm going to go over 3 cruiser-style bikes that I'd recommend for beginner riders, and we'll put out a video of the 3 for riders with experience. I want to state a disclaimer that this list is aimed squarely at the North American market. I know that Europe and other places have extra restrictions in place to keep new riders safe, which I'm a fan of, but since I'm in the US, I'm going to keep bikes to a displacement of under 1,000 cubic centimeters. As always, I firmly believe that bikes are tools, and as riders, we need the right tool for the job. If you aren't into cruising, stay tuned. I'll be making a video that'll cover the style of bike that you're interested in. Also, these bikes are wholly chosen based on my preferences. I love all bikes, but I do have some specific tastes. If I've missed what you're riding, it isn't because I don't like your bike, it's just that the styling, performance, and features of these particular bikes speak to me more than others do. Feel free to let me know in the comments what your choices would be and why my choices are completely invalid. Links to all the bikes will be in the description below, and all videos are from the manufacturers unless otherwise noted. These bikes are all capable cruisers and are in alphabetical order, so don't read anything into the ranking. First up is the Harley-Davidson Iron 883, and it's pretty fitting. Introduced and continuously built since the 1950s, the Sportster has a pedigree that few other bikes on the market can claim. Starting at $8,999 new, it's not an inexpensive bike, but it lines up nicely with other quality cruisers from premium brands. Unlike other Harleys, if you want something other than black, you won't be charged for a different paint color unless you opt for the scorched orange and silver flux paint job, which will set you back an extra $900. Although it looks as though the 2021 model year will be the last for the air-cooled Sportster as we know it, I'd be truly surprised if the Bar and Shield doesn't do something with the Revolution Max engine to keep their entry-level bike alive, even if they do end up ditching the Sportster nameplate. In 2010, Harley decided to introduce the Iron, which added blacked-out engine casings and wheels, and has offered a matte or denim paint option for most of the available colors. Because the Sportster has been around for so long, there's an aftermarket that can satiate any desire that an Iron owner can want. As the old saying goes, the rarest bike on the planet is a bone-stock Sportster. Due to its long lifespan, the current Evolution V-twin engine is about as bulletproof as you'll find. And as was said before, if something does go awry, or you're just feeling like changing things up, there's no shortage of Harley and aftermarket parts to make it your own. Although eclipsed by some of the other cruisers we'll get into later in this list, the 883 engine puts out a respectable 49 horsepower and 54 foot-pounds of torque. It's certainly enough to bomb around town, and people have been riding them across the country and back for well over half a century. As I said in my Why Women Riders Matter video, Whit Mesa did an iron butt on one, meaning she rode her Sportster over 1,000 miles in 24 hours. Definitely proves that the bike can be as hardcore as you want it to be, and that Whit is a certified badass rider. That said, the Sportster is starting to really show its age. The whole reason for the Revolution Max engine is that the air-cooled Evo can't meet the Euro 5 emission standards. It doesn't mean it isn't a great bike. The low seat height of 28 inches and the 19 and 16 inch front and rear wheel sizes respectively give new riders a bike that is pretty nimble for its 564 pound wet weight. I'm not thrilled that the Iron only comes with a single front disc brake setup and that ABS is a $900 optional extra, but I never felt like I didn't have enough stopping power during the time I owned my Iron. I'm recommending these bikes based on their brand new forms, but a decent Sportster can be had for very little money if you're willing to do some searching and are handy with a wrench or know someone who is. For the fact of how ubiquitous it is and the absolute mountain of post-purchasing option, any new rider could do a lot worse than picking up an Iron 883. Next up is the Indian Scout Barber 60, a direct competitor to the Iron, and it checks a lot of the boxes that the Sportster doesn't. Its 999cc liquid-cooled engine puts out a very respectable 78 horsepower and 65 foot-pounds of torque. Like the Iron, it comes with a single rotor brake setup and optional ABS. Unlike the Iron, however, its front wheel is 16 inches and comes with a 6-speed gearbox. That smaller front wheel gives the Indian a 25-inch seat height, something that's even more accessible to new riders. At 549 pounds wet, it's also a little more svelte than the Iron is. The 60 starts at $8,999, a full $100 more than the Iron, but you are getting more power for that money. If you decide to opt for the ABS model, it'll set you back a full $800 more, just like the Sportster, and another $500 if you decide to go with a color other than the base Thunder Black model. It's a little disheartening to see Indian and Harley charging a lot more than metric cruisers do for ABS, especially when most of them added in at no cost or for a few $100s. Being someone who used to drag race Mustangs, I can appreciate the fact that the 60 has a 2-into-2 exhaust with a crossover. For those that don't know, having a crossover aids in scavenging, which helps pull in more fresh air and fuel into the combustion chambers as the exhaust is expelled, thus creating more power. In my experience, it's rare to see these on any 2-into-2 exhaust, especially from stock one at the factory. The styling on the Scout Barber 60 is what I'd call a retro modern design. There's no way you can't look at it and see that it's paying homage to the bikes that have come before, but the casting of the engine and other parts seem to have a more modern feel to them when compared to other V-twins like the one on the Iron. Indian beat Harley to the punch by bringing liquid-cooled bikes to the market first. Just by looking at the performance numbers, it's easy to see where there are some benefits. That said, there are those who will always prefer an air-cooled engine whenever possible, and many Harley riders have been quoted as saying that those engines, whether in the Sportster, Dyner, or Softail frames, just have more quote-unquote soul. I'm not here to say that they're right or wrong. People like what they like, and it's one of the reasons I love motorcycles. Our last bike up is the Kawasaki Vulcan S. Like both the Iron and Scout Barber 60, the Vulcan S is offered in non-ABS and ABS flavors, but Kawasaki only charges an extra $400 for the option. Like both of the two previous bikes, it too comes with a single disc front brake setup. It also comes down in between them with an 18-inch front wheel, which gives the Vulcan S a 27-inch seat height. Powered by the same engine that's in the Kawasaki Ninja 650, this bike is definitely no slouch. It makes 4 more horsepower than the Iron does at 53, but 8 less torque at 46 foot-pounds. Two things that definitely set it apart from both the Iron and 60 are price and the ErgoFit system. The non-ABS version goes for $7,199, and the ABS one is very affordable at $7,599. Even at the top of the Vulcan pile, the Vulcan S ABS Cafe is nearly a full $1,000 cheaper than both the Iron and 60 at $8,199. Something that should appeal to a lot of new riders is the ErgoFit sizing system. By offering 16 possible configurations to the seat, foot pegs, and handlebar, it's sure to find the right rider triangle for it to fit almost any rider. The options are reduced reach, mid-reach, and extended reach. Anytime we can make a new rider feel more comfortable on their bike with the ergonomics, the more successful they will likely be. The best part of this is that Kawasaki offers the ErgoFit system at no additional cost. The local Kawasaki dealer to me has the Vulcan S display bike where you can sit on it and try each of those 18 configurations. Before I bought my Iron, the Vulcan S was definitely a contender for me, with the thought of Mrs. Fiend being able to take it over after I've upgraded and she could fit it to the way she wanted. The Vulcan S comes in at just under 500 pounds wet and should be a little easier to handle for a new rider. As the old saying goes, if you can't lift it by yourself, you shouldn't be riding it. While 500 pounds certainly isn't a light bike, it's definitely in line with others of its size and performance. The Vulcan S also has the largest tank of the three at 3.7 gallons, with the other both having just 3.3 gallon tanks. Most new riders will probably want to stop and stretch their legs before the tank goes empty, especially if they're rocking a stock seat. Vulcan S offers a lot of bike and customizing ability for the price and should be definitely a consideration for new riders. Let me address the fact that I didn't include the Honda Rebel or Yamaha Bull. They're both great bikes and certainly worthy of consideration, but I just don't know enough about the Bolt to make an educated opinion, and the Rebel will be showing up in my Experienced Rider video, so stay tuned for that. I want to thank each and every one of you who has taken the time to like my videos and subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed yet, please consider subscribing and liking this video. It It really helps out the channel and will allow me to be able to do more to give back to the community as it grows. Okay, that'll do it for this video. As always, stay shiny side up. Throttle Fiend out.